Welcome back to Common Sense for Relationships. We are still talking about resolving conflicts in marriage. Let's go right into it. You know, sometimes money is a major reason for conflict in marriages.
True talk.
And you also know that there are some people who don't want to disclose how much they are earning to their spouse for one reason or the other. Sometimes maybe for safety. But you know, you now see that if you don't know what the other person is earning, then you're likely to expect more than they can afford.
Yeah.
And when they don't provide it or give it to you, you can start saying, oh, they're stingy, they don't love me, they don't want to give me anything, or they're withholding from me what is rightfully mine. And then one day somebody suggests to you, maybe he's giving it to somebody, or maybe she's taking the money elsewhere, and then you're like, haha, there must be somebody else. And it just grows. How about just talk about, this is what I earn, this is what you earn, and then you can manage your expectations. So someone doesn't wake up and say, I want a so device, or so car, or I want a house in so place, when it is way beyond what you can afford. It's all part of managing expectations, you know.
So just to reiterate something that ID spoke about, which is that in the final analysis, you have to ensure that at the end of every conflict, the marriage wins.
Yes.
It's not I win or she wins. It's that the marriage wins.
Yeah, and I think that's where you have to learn to say, I'm sorry, even if you even if you feel you were right, and just humble yourself and apologize. Sometimes you may feel like I didn't do anything wrong, but you might help your partner by just going and saying, I'm sorry. At least put something, like throw him a lifeline or hi lifeline, so that you guys can reconcile. But I mean, if you're just sticking up on your own, I'm not the problem here. Then you might not be the problem, but there might not be a problem that will become significant, and you have to address those things early.
And well, for those that are intending to go again, something you just raised is very key, and that's still being able to communicate. You know, some like people say, let's talk from sense to nonsense. So and then find our way back to sense. You know, so it means we have to discuss around all the edges. Sometimes when you are in love, it seems like let's not shake the table, or let's not rock the boat, so that this love can go smoothly and then end up in marriage. But love is not just the feeling, you know, it's not just the emotion. It's everything included. The feeling, the knowledge, the understanding. Love is deep. So let's go deep.
Yeah, I mean, one more thing on finances. One of the reasons why a lot of people hold back their finances from their spouse, and I'm able to say that it's mostly on the side of the men, is because at that point in time, you seem to be the one that has more. But you see, in the world of today, tables can easily turn. Tables can flip in
they just turn up and down.
You know, so you get into the marriage as the one with the heavier cash, the one with the larger bank account. And then tomorrow, your spouse, who is one tailor that happens to sew for one lady, and the lady becomes the first lady of a state, and all of a sudden you are sewing for the first lady, and tables are turned, and the husband loses his job, and then it's back at you. You know. But if you had an open communication on your finances from the start, no matter who is on top at a certain season, the marriage still, the marriage still wins.
Something else we're talking about when we talk about conflict is the reason why conflict escalates sometimes is the type of words we spit out. You know, it's almost like pepper me, I pepper you. And
and then we lift up the peppering, you know. So the times when you use abusive words, that's when you tend to see that the conflict really escalates and people are shouting, and before you know what, I want to do more. I would start throwing things. So if you can deal with your tongue really early, I think you would have solved 70% of your conflict issues. Because imagine if you're having a disagreement with your spouse and there's zero verbal abuse.
Wow.
Tendency is that the atmosphere will be calm because you're going to be saying normal things to each other, not abusive. So you won't say things that would aggravate the other person.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for us to deal with our tongues early. For the singles, it's a good time to learn how to clip that tongue. If you are married and you have your tongues, deal with it.
So you know that scripture that says a gentle answer, a soft answer turns away wrath. You know, it's something good to put in your mind. I mean, once one person is shouting and the other person comes back with a shout, it just keeps going up.
And guess what? The two of you can never be angry at the same frequency. One person's frequency is usually higher.
Wisdom.
So there's wisdom for the lower person to just step down, you know? It's just wisdom.
Interesting.
The Bible says wisdom builds a house. So that's a good time to apply wisdom.
You know, I mean, so one more thing. So let's say my wife offends me and I deny myself the right to legally get angry. I shouldn't get angry. Do you understand? But I deny myself that right. Do you understand? To legally get angry. Not that I would do that all the time, but it helps you manage your conflict, you know, because what that means is that once you deny yourself, you elevate the other person. So you can imagine if the husband and the wife decides to deny themselves, then they both elevate the marriage. It's usually difficult because you're asking, oh, so I denied myself the last time. She should deny herself this time. So if both of you deny yourself, that right to get angry, that right to walk out, that right to say what really is in your mind, then you elevate the marriage. By the way, I said it's difficult, it takes practice, but we can always get there.
Okay. So something else I think is quite important when it comes to conflict resolution is focus on the issue and not on
the
person. So when there's an issue to resolve, look at this issue needs to be resolved. Not I need to deal with this other person or this person needs to change. Deal with the issue, you know. And another thing is when it comes to holding positions. This is my position. That is their position. My position must come out on top. How does that help anybody?
We help.
So you need to be able to come to a compromise and acknowledge that person A in this relationship has this much experience, person B has this much experience, and rather than try to hold on to your schools of thought, why don't you leverage the best from this and the best from this and come up with a new, unified, beautiful, superior position to each than the individual positions. That way you have a solution that moves you further along than if you chose one particular one over the other.
You know, that brings something to mind, and that is the idea that, you know, why can't you be like me? The truth is, you can't really change anybody. You just have to appreciate how the other person is. And then when you learn to work together, the differences actually brings spice and flavor to the relationship.
I was just going to add that I believe every marriage has embedded in it the capacity to resolve any kind of conflict that comes. The scripture that comes to mind is where the Bible says that there's no temptation that comes to you that is not common, which means every quarrel you will ever quarrel, someone has quarreled it.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Every quarrel you will ever quarrel,
someone has quarreled it.
You know, people who have quarreled it have either quarreled it successfully or unsuccessfully. So you decide which one.
Exactly. So which means every quarrel that you would ever quarrel in your marriage, someone has gone through that road. They've probably come out successful. So you can decide that my marriage would come out on the winning side because somebody else must have gone through this. I'm not the first person.
Yeah, interesting. Wow, really good insights there. I hope that you are learning. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you are finding one thing here, one thing there that you can apply to your own marriage or to your own relationship to make it successful. Okay, so we've come to the end of resolving conflicts in marriage. If you have your own tips that you would like to share with us, or you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave a comment below. Okay, so stay tuned for what we're bringing your way next time, which is Marriage Showstoppers. It's going to be an interesting series. We're going to be looking at different things that are keeping people from going down the aisle. See you next time. Remember, common sense is not so common. Bye.